Hey, we're here on a Friday night, a couple minutes late. We're trying to work through a few tech things. But since we do stuff live, it's a little more challenging than some of the shows that you see that are recorded. But we're here. Ben's here with a new awesome background. Look at that one. That's retro, but pretty cool, dude.
I got a crazy flaming Alice in Chains headpiece. It's awesome.
I don't know that anyone's ever worn it quite like that before. That's pretty cool.
I'm going to try to keep my head still the entire show.
Didn't you used to have a shirt with the sun like that on the front?
I had a sweatshirt that my daughter stole from me and wears all the time.
Oh,
to this day. To this day, she steals it and wears it all the time.
That's funny. Oh, man. Rick, hey! Rick likes it. Rick's here. How you doing, Rick? Plus, he likes the ASE, of course.
Who doesn't?
Well, I don't know. Everyone should. Best grunge band of them all, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that can be disputed. Not the most popular, but the best. All right, Rick, I got a new one for you. I'm trying Up North Wisconsin Lager tonight from One Barrel Brewing here in Madison. So giving that a shot, a lager, going for that. Up north. We know what it's like to live up north. All of us do. Rick says, thumbs up. Going okay here. That's good. Oh, man. Well,
I'm
it was Packers. We got some stuff to talk about Packers related. We got some stuff us related. We will talk a little bit about, it was Packers' first day of rookie mini camp or whatever it was. And The guys just got to go there and run around as Packers, and all that stuff is cool. And some notes on that, including a few. They could give 5 invitations to people, right, that were undrafted guys and all that sort of stuff. Tryout guys. One of them very notable, Ben.
Yep.
Very notable. What the heck? Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Can you imagine that? That would be wild, huh?
He won't make it.
You won't make it? Come on. He might make it. Packers are all about family, they say, so maybe they'll do the family thing in this one. They talk about the Packer family all the time. So you never know. They go family. Could happen.
Never know.
It's Aaron Jones' brother, by the way. Alvin Jones. He's a linebacker, right? Not terribly big.
I thought he was a fullback.
Right. He's not terribly big.
But I guess he's a linebacker fullback.
Is he fast?
I don't know.
Okay. Is he as fast? Who's faster? Alvin or Aaron Jones?
I think Alvin's faster, but Aaron runs differently, which makes him appear faster. So it doesn't matter.
That's cool. All right. Hey, we're going to let some people. Hey, mom and dad are here. Mom and dad. Woo. Dad wants to know if it is Alice and Chains.
No.
Alice in Chains. What was the backstory behind the name, quick? Do you remember? How did they come up with that name?
That was Lane Staley's band when he was in like a hair metal style band. And it was called Alice in Chains, with just the N. And then when they were going to have a name, it was actually going to be something I shouldn't say here. It starts with an F.
Oh.
And ends with a uck. And then the record company's like, you can't have that be your name, you idiots. And they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll be Alice in Chains. And there you go.
That's funny. Wow. Well, hey, I never totally got the name either, and it definitely didn't. I don't know that the name really helped them in any way or not, but their music is sure good, and they were one heck of a band and still are playing. Of course, they rebooted and they still making new music and all that sort of stuff. They're old now, but hey, Sean Kinney's still a good drummer, even though he's old. So what the heck? Hey, Bernard, how you doing?
And they're big football guys.
That's right.
Football. Every year they do the fantasy football celebrity fantasy football thing, and they have things up for auction for donations. They donate the proceeds to charity stuff in Seattle, and Rich Eisen is part of their group every year. And every year Jerry shows up on his Rich Eisen podcast to promote the auction every year. So that's pretty cool. They're big Seattle. They're Seahawk fans, obviously, but I think it's just Jerry and Mike Inez are the two guys that do the fantasy football stuff. I don't think Sean and William or whatever his name is, the new singer. I don't think he. I don't know if those guys are that into football. I know Mike Inez and Jerry are, but
yeah, Cantrell for sure. He was all over that all the time. That was pretty fun. Hey, they're unique guys. They're fun. They're funny. They always were. Did some funny things. You ever look up the Nona tapes? That's a good. That's some good entertainment if you're ever interested in that. Holy crap, Blas is here. Hey, how you doing, Blas?
Blas, hey.
He says, Ben, you are abandoning the Star Wars backgrounds. What's happening? Ben's evolving, or he's just cycling through.
No, I like a lot of stuff. I did Nightcrawler last week. I like Nightcrawler as my favorite X-Man. Alice in Chains is one of my favorite bands of all time. So every week I'm just gonna pick something new.
That's
it
cool.
Can't be all Packers all the time. I mean, it's off season. Come on.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. We got to do some more kind of off season type stuff where it's a little fun, a little goofy, a little, off topic kind of. And, that could be kind of cool. Hey, we did pick up some good news for Haven Bros. We got a couple things to get to here real quick. And then we'll talk a little bit about the rookies and all that. Is that we did over the weekend surpass the century mark in subscribers, which is pretty cool. Slightly helped out by my kids, but also some other people too. Including Dingus 32468, which I totally thought was you, by the way.
I say Dingus McGingus a lot.
I know, that's what I saw. I was like,
that's what I call people at work when they do something dumb. I like, come on, Dingus McGingus.
I was like, did Ben create a robo account or what?
I didn't.
No, but that is one of our new subscribers.
Might be somebody from work, who's doing it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's one of the people you call that all the time at work. Yeah.
Could be.
Leogra 78 also, which I'm going to get into some new things here as well. We're a bunch of comments, which is really appreciated. Also subscribe to us. They did say that they unsubscribed from Cheesehead TV to subscribe to ours, which I don't know.
You don't have to do that.
I don't know if that's necessary, but I mean, yeah, it's totally up to you. You want to unsubscribe from Cheesehead TV? That's cool. Unless there's like a maximum subscription in YouTube. I don't know. Is there like, no, maybe you had to drop one to pick up ours. Anyway, it was, I think, intended to be a compliment. We appreciate that. And gave a bunch of other thoughts and wanted to see our point of view. But so far, checked out a few of our videos and likes it. And so, we're going to try to keep pleasing you, but at the same time, just being true to what we're doing. I do have one thing to call out, Ben, before we go any further. Oh my goodness. Did you happen to see? All right. So our Jordan Love reaction from 20, I shortened it. It's about a little over 6.5 minutes or something now. And it's now over 7,000 views and all that stuff, whatever, which for us is a big deal.
Yeah.
But somebody went on there and said, this is a fake reaction. You can tell. LOL, you are all losers. Fake? I mean, you can call us losers. I don't care about that. But fake? You can't call us fake. We are never, ever fake. Ever. We might get a little crazy sometimes, but we're not fake.
That guy can go and find the live reaction of the entire thing and watch the hour and 45 minutes that we were on air last year during the first round of the draft and be bored out of his mind for most of it and then see that all those things did really happen in real time.
Right.
And so he can shut up.
He does have a Bears emblem for his YouTube thing.
Well,
so that might be part of it. Just
it.
Little Packer Bear hate there. I mean, that's fine. But don't mind me calling us fake. That's just totally uncalled for.
We're not fake.
And inaccurate. That is untrue. That is untrue. We might be wrong a lot, but we're never fake.
We're wrong a lot.
But not fake ever. All right. I just had to clear that up. Like, dude, we are never fake. So that argument you can put away. You can bash us in a lot of ways, but not fake. Bernard says Wilson is fake, though. That might be true.
Yeah, he's fake.
Go Hawks. Let's see. Yeah, go Hawks. Oh, Blas says you're not fake. That's the reason he's here. Well, thanks, Blas. And we know it's getting late by you. So we'll get to the couple of points here. All right. Ben and I talked yesterday. I'm going to get through this stuff. We don't want to be on forever tonight. So I'm going back to the old rule. When the beer's gone, the show is over. Okay, I haven't taken a drink yet because I'm talking too much. But hey, Double Doink, how you doing? Yeah, scripted, right? That's us. Very scripted here on this end. You got it. Anyway.
I never know what we're going to talk about when I show up on this thing. I only hope that you have some sort of outline at least to keep us on track. Otherwise, it's just rambling.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. I couldn't believe that comment when I saw it, but then I saw it was a Bears guy. So I'm like, he's just trolling at us. Whatever. That's fine. Anyway. All right. Ben and I talked yesterday. We went about a bunch of things, and we talked about kind of where we started almost 2 years ago before the 2019 season. And we talked about where we are now. And we're like, okay, there's some things that have been going on the last month or so, or a few weeks with all the stuff that's been going on, but including the way the season ended. It's probably ever since the way the season ended, off-season stuff, some of the moves that were made, draft, Aaron Rodgers, Packers drama, all this stuff, all packaged together, right? And we were really getting to the point where, things were kind of getting away from us, I think, a little bit, where we were really getting into our fandom too much. And don't get me wrong, like, we're going to be passionate. We're going to have big reactions at times, all that. But I think we were going a little too far. And we both agreed that we should kind of scale it back a little bit to be able to think a little more clearly about everything that's going on Packers, so we can relay that to you a little bit better than we have been and not get caught up in our emotions and stuff like that. So that was something we kind of looked at. But one thing that I raised to Ben, I was like, you know what? Because I went back and listened to some of our 2019 shows, and again, self-scout, we do the self-scout like the Packers. And I was just like, man, it's just a different tone. We were a lot more laid back. All this other sort of stuff was going on. Now, back then, we weren't doing live shows. We recorded them later at night, too. Ben was usually tired. And it was only kind of like game recap and game look forward, and then we'd put it together and put it out. So there wasn't the excitement of people in the chat and stuff like that, which is cool and fun. But I also thought, man, wasn't it a different experience in 2019? We were there as Packers fans after going through 2 rough years. And the team was doing well. There was this success, but there weren't all the expectations. And I think that was a big difference for me as I look back on it between 2019 and 2020, about after the way 2019 went and then coming into 2020, those expectations were really high. And then the Packers got to the same point. And I think that's why I crashed so hard when they lost. So I don't know how you felt, Ben, but I really felt like that kind of build up and that transfer and the expectations of 2020 was kind of just got to me at the end. And I've been kind of loose cannon for a while. So I apologize to you guys for that.
Well, I was like that all year.
I don't apologize to Ben, though. He deserves it sometimes.
Yeah. But it's just all year it was like that. Like, because I kept seeing things. And I was like, why do they keep doing this stuff? Why do they let this happen? And I kept being nitpicky instead of just enjoying the fact that they were winning games and making enough plays to get by and not realizing that you can't be 100% perfect all the time. And I would just, because the expectations were there. The year before, I was just happy, that Aaron Jones ran for a touchdown once. That he was, first of all, I was happy that he was actually in the game because that didn't happen for the first 2 years of his career. So that was one thing. And then the fact that the defense was making plays and it seemed like an entire team, right? And then this year we went in with more expectations and they started off really hot and we're leading the league in scoring and, scoring points all over the place and blowing guys out. And then some of our favorite guys, that we talked about, though I think we thought Jay Sternberger was going to be the guy, but then in preseason, we heard a little more about Robert Tonyan, that he was playing with the ones in practice. And then we liked Tonyan and we just didn't think they'd actually give him a chance. Just like some of the other guys we liked that we didn't think they would give chances, but we get in there and you just expect more and more. And then I just nitpick every little dumb thing. And then it just made it no fun sometimes. It was hard to be excited. Like I always said, my favorite Packers season as a fan was 1989. and we didn't even make the playoffs. Why? Because there was no expectations for anything. I mean, Don Mikulski was a no-name nothing. Nobody knew who the hell that guy was. Sterling Sharp was only in his second year, so you didn't think he was going to do anything. So it's just one of those things where I and that's part of the reason why I've said, I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready for the Rodgers era to be done. I've been saying that for a while behind the scenes with you. And it's mostly because I want to get back to the feeling of rooting for a team and being excited for everything I see instead of being critical of everything, because my expectations are so high for the quarterback, for the high priced free agents, for all the different types of things that are going on. And it makes me not even like myself half the time. I mean, it's not worth it. I mean, this week we found, we got some information that it's like, hey, guess what? The life is way more important than the stupid Packer game or the Packers season, or like why do we even get into that stuff? Like, why are there even Packer fans? Why is all this stuff going on? And it's like, it really, because like I thought back about, I was like, well, what was the difference between Saturday before the NFC Championship game and Monday after the NFC Championship game for me in my life? Nothing. I worked on Saturday and I worked on Monday, and I did the same freaking thing, and nothing changed other than I felt like crap the next day because they lost and it sucked. But it didn't affect me at all. What's the point of that? But the other thing is, the reason why we're fans and the reason why is escapism. That's all it is. So if you can't enjoy yourself, and the point of the whole being a fan is to escape and go with the flow and feel the power and believe in whatever it is and live with the highs and gloss over the lows is what you have to do. And that's kind of where I'm trying to take it now. I'm trying to be like, okay, I want to be done with the criticalness. I don't think I'll ever be not critical of Billy Turner, but hey, what am I going to do about that? There's not much you can say. But I'm trying to change. But
I gotta tell you, I just watched. That was one of the video I went and watched today. Was our cutout from one of our live shows is the Billy Turner. It's titled "The Billy Turner Problem," and it's really, I mean, it's well done. Like, you go a little crazy, you're like a little hot, but we point out and we lay it out, and we're like, here's a clear problem that the team never really and still doesn't acknowledge, because they keep saying he's one of their key guys, and I still don't get it. Now, again, the other people who are more rational than us all the time will say, hey, we're not the coaches. We're not the ones that decide who goes out there and all that stuff. So you got to live with what they do. And I get that. But I don't have to agree with it, because when I watch offensive line play, because I like to watch offensive line play. I don't know how many people out there like watching O-line play, but
I do.
It's a huge part of the game. It's huge.
I think it's sometimes the most important part of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, if your offensive line doesn't do what they're supposed to do, I mean, you're screwed, period. Doesn't matter how good your quarterback is. Doesn't matter who gets open. Doesn't matter any of that stuff.
Blas loved it. Billy Turner tag. One of the funniest moments of our shows, he says.
Yeah.
But it was true. I mean, that's what makes it funny too. It's like, it was true. That actually happened. The guy did that, just like played tag with people that he was supposed to be blocking. And somehow the Packers put him out there every single week. So it's maddening as a fan.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm trying to not get as mad and not
yell
and scream about stuff. It's just this whole Rodgers thing, and
it's been rough.
It's difficult because you're like as a fan, you want him to win, and the best way to win is if he's the guy, right? Like,
yeah.
But then it comes to the point where now I'm realizing, like, I expect them and him to be perfect, and nobody can be perfect. So how can I, be as critical as I've been, but still know that if he would, if he does this or he changes this. And like I told you, I went back and I watched the game after the first Tampa Bay game. I watched our show after the first Tampa Bay game, and how I pointed out there was 3 drives in a row where the Packers are up 10-0. And those next 3 drives, Rodgers was the one who screwed up every single play. It wasn't even anybody else. It was Rodgers. And maybe a little Devontae here and there. But he had bad plays over and over and over. He screwed up. He either threw the ball too late. He threw off his back foot. He didn't throw it when he should have, when the guys are open. And I'm watching it again back, and I'm like, I mean, how can he was having a bad day? What are you going to do? Yeah. Nobody's like perfect. But that's the other problem is if they trade him and he goes and Jordan Love comes in, or whoever it is, Blake Bortles, whatever.
Like Bortles signed this week.
Whatever. I mean,
Sarah,
people are going to freak.
Remember when Sarah drafted him in fantasy that one year and then got totally screwed? After he had his best year, Sarah drafted Blake Bortles as her fantasy quarterback the next year. And we were all like, hey, Blake Bortles, hey, not bad. And then he was terrible. Like he was so bad. Poor Sarah. She's got bad luck. So then she just stuck with drafting Drew Brees every year. She abandoned, I think someone stole Brees from her that year. So she had to draft a different quarterback. And then every other year she tried to make sure she had Drew Brees, which now she can't do that anymore either. So Sarah's got to figure something out. Hey, Ben, I don't mean to interrupt you, but a lot of good stuff. Good. A lot of good stuff in the chat here, which is super cool. Lee, right? And I want to say this too. Like you guys that come out here and hang out with us and comment and watch the show, even if you don't comment, but like everybody that participates, checks it out even for a little while, drops in for 10 minutes, watches for 2 hours. We appreciate it. We really do. Like we're just on here trying to talk about the Packers in the way that we believe and try to share some things that we observe that might be different than what other people do. And of course, we're passionate fans. Like I put it in our description, we're lifelong Packer fans. We're passionate. We're straightforward. Sometimes we're a little bit over the top, but we're also, we're not ever saying anything just to like push something or stir up controversy or get clickbait or any of that sort of stuff. We're really trying to express to you what we see, what you think. And most of the time, like Blas has pointed out, we get fired up or we say some of the stuff because we're trying to point out things that we think could make the team better. Now, we're not professional football coaches. A lot of people will criticize you when you say anything about that and say, well, like, more than the coaches that see them every day and all this sort of stuff. And granted, fine. Maybe they see these guys every day, but we watch the games intently. And I don't care if the guy looks awesome in practice. If he's in the game and doesn't perform, give somebody else a shot. And sometimes that's just it. Like sticking with some of these guys too long that aren't performing or underperforming. Like give somebody else a shot, see what they can do when you put them in the game. You never know until you get them in there. So I did want to say, but check this out, right? Lee says, watching from the beach of Lac de Flambeau, ready for crappies. So he's on the beach, Lac de Flambeau, crappie fishing. Hey. And he's checking out our show. That's awesome.
I don't even know what that means. Is that like
Laz is from another country. He's on here staying up late, hanging out with us. Rick is always here. Mom and Dad are always here. Other people hanging out. Bernard comes in. Double Doink drops in. Like everybody's hanging around. We love it. Another thing, Blas, Rick pointed this out too. He's like talking about with the situation with Rodgers and the Packers. Now, if it was just something like if you just look at what's come out from Rodgers' old teammates and the Packers, and you take all the media speculation out of it, would you be so upset? Is it really so much drama? Is it really like, because you're not hearing about it every day either? You know what I mean?
Yes, I would still be upset.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying, like, I think what's wearing on people and grinding on people is all of the media run with it. And they've done it because it gets some ratings, right? It gets some numbers. And so they're like, we'll just say whatever the hell we want and speculate on this and speculate on that and keep going. And the thing that I want people to realize, and I don't know where this is all going to end up, but the thing I don't want to have happen, and the thing I'm doing for myself too, and because I'm a Rodgers fan and I'm a Packers fan, is that regardless of how this goes down, if he ends up doing something or it comes out publicly or there's corroborative evidence or something that he was pulling some crap and whatever, I'll be very disappointed in the way this ended, but I'm not going to let that take away what he's accomplished as a Packers quarterback for all this time and what he's done with the team on the field, off the field, the right things he's done on a, in with his influence, giving to charities, representing organizations, speaking out about issues in a good way, helping the team. He was one of the guys that spoke out last year and helped the team organize their videos they wanted to put up and put out about racism and about what was going on. The Packers were the first NFL team to make a public presentation about that and take a stance, right? And he was one of the guys that led the whole thing for them. I mean, I just don't want people to get so caught up in what's going on right now that they don't appreciate all that other stuff. I think he's like an onion. I think there's a lot of layers to the guy. I think some are maybe a little stinky and some are pretty awesome. So, but I do want, for myself, I'm not going to get stuck in just focusing on this end, however it comes down. But like a lot of people are saying, okay, maybe it's time to move on. And at this point, it probably is. I have one dream scenario, which I know probably won't ever happen, but I'll lay it out for you in a little bit.
Well, it's like,
and Brett Favre chiming in too with his gut. Like, who cares what Brett Favre's gut's telling him? Come on, stop.
It's just like, I just want to root for a team. Aaron Jones was on Rich Eisen yesterday or today, and he said that after he signed his contract, he got texts from Rodgers and Bakhtiari and Mercedes and Devontae and a bunch of leaders on the team, congratulating him and saying, all right, let's go. It's great to have you back and blah, blah, blah. And Eisen asked him if he knew anything about how Rodgers was feeling, that because he had talked to him about this stuff, and did he have any idea? And Aaron Jones was like, I had zero clue. I found out the same as everybody else found out, that he wasn't happy. And it's one of those things where the most disappointing part about it for me is that if you're gonna decide to walk away or decide you don't want to play for that team or whatever the case is, that's fine. But I don't honestly know, if I was a player on that team, if I could trust him coming back. And it's a business, so it shouldn't even be like, what he's doing is got nothing to do with how, like, his teammates or anything. It's about his livelihood and how he can produce. I believe, I don't think it's a personal thing. I mean, it might be personal with him and Goody or some crap, but the fact that these guys didn't have a clue. I mean, Aaron Jones, come on. He had no idea that Rodgers was coming back. And I remember his press conference after he signed. He was like, "Yep, we're bringing it on back. We're bringing everybody back. We got unfinished business. We're going for it. We're going for it." And but he's still talking like that. He's like, "Hey," the other thing he said was that him and Jordan Love worked on stuff every Saturday. I didn't know that. He said, Rich Eisen asked him, he's like, "Well, what if Jordan Love has to play? Is that something that you guys are ready for?" And Aaron Jones is like, "I don't know," but Aaron Rodgers worked with him and helped him, in the film room, and helped him on the practice field. And, he didn't, he wasn't like a jerk to him. He was a good mentor to him that last season. He's like, and I know this, I worked with Jordan on Saturdays on a couple things. It's just him and me. So he could work on stuff within the offense with me, just because Saturday was a day where we weren't, as busy that, to work on stuff. And he worked with me. So it's just weird. I'm just kind of saying, like, I think it's just odd to me that you don't want to play for this team when they keep bringing stuff, like they brought everybody back, and just because you have a beef with the general manager, or you feel they're not giving you your just desserts as a player to, I don't know.
Well, see, and that's all.
It makes me not like him. Like, I used to be disappointed on the field a little bit, and now I'm even like it as a off the field person. He's great, but like it bothers me that he'd want to walk away. Like, what's Denver's going to be better? Like, it makes no sense. It would make more sense to come back and say, I'm going to play one more year. and then I want out. So all you other teams, get yourselves ready so that at the start of February, March, when free agency opens up and teams are trying to get their teams put together, make a run for my services. I'll trade. You can trade to come get me, trade the right stuff to get me, and I'll go to a team. I'll pick a team that I know can win, and I'll be happy there. But pulling this crap here now, he's got like two options. He's got one option, Denver. There's no other options. Everybody else is the quarterbacks are either young or they're established or the team is close, but they don't know what they're going to do with the quarterback, but they can't afford to trade away a bunch of stuff to get Roger. You know what I mean? Like Denver is the only option. Like why? It doesn't make sense, but whatever. I don't want to talk all day about that kind of thing, but it's just, it's just weird. It's just weird. And it makes me want to like, I'm done with them. I'm just like, I don't even care.
Hey, we got a new person here. I want to say something on that because I didn't know we were going to talk about it, but I did have one. I'll keep it brief, but I wanted to just kind of throw a little something else idea out there. But we did have a new person coming in. 0 F's given. Says, imagine the Packers with a mediocre to above par quarterback and a monster defense. And that's been a long time since Packers had that.
Yeah, monster defense.
Right. It would be wild. But again, we talked about how the offense could be a run, heavy running attack with the backs they have. With Jones and you got Dillon as a second round pick. I mean, you could do that if you had the right offensive line, and maybe they're getting there with all these O-line picks. Maybe they'll figure out a way to have, transition from these more pass blocker types to run blocker types. And maybe that's part of what's going on. I don't know. But one quick thing. Now, Ben, some of the things you're talking about are still speculative, things. Like we think this is what somebody said or that somebody said that Rodgers pulling that. I think
it's not speculation that he said he's upset.
Right. That he's upset.
Told people in the organization that he doesn't want to come back. That is not speculation.
I'm not saying that because he didn't deny that.
Okay,
he just said
I said.
He said it was unhappy that it got out. He said it was unhappy that it became.
Okay, I don't care about getting out. It's what happened. It's what he's doing. It's what he said.
I get it. But the people are a lot of people, of course, saying why they think he's unhappy was it relates to the Jordan Love pick, or it relates to that, or it relates to them not talking to him. I was looking at some things and saying maybe it's some of the things we've talked about. Maybe it's the fact that the Packers won't ever go all in. Maybe it's the fact that he looked at this offseason and was like, wow, JJ Watt's available. Are we going to make a serious run at him? And when they didn't, he's like, well, there's my answer again. And maybe that's what kind of pushed things to a new level. I don't know. It's all speculative, but those type of things too are another thing to consider. Instead of converting his salary to some signing bonus and taking the money, which the Packers could have done on their own. Albert Breer reported that this week. And kind of Rich Eisen had this big wow moment about it. Didn't realize that. But the Packers could have done that without Rodgers' consent and they
didn't. And why did they not do it?
Because they don't want to get themselves in financial trouble in the future. I get it.
But they've been trying to do it. They don't do it because he doesn't want them to.
Well, okay, maybe. We don't know why they didn't do it. But the point is, they could have potentially and I get it. It was a wishful thinking that they would go after Watt. But if you didn't give $6 million to Kevin King and you freed up some cap from doing something like that, you could have created the cap space to make a serious run at JJ Watt. And then he might have been able to whip this defense into shape because we have talent on defense. We just need a leader on defense. And we've talked about that on this show too. The defense lacks a guy that's going to lead and kick you in the butt to get that unit together. So the hope is that Joe Barry is that type of coach.
I don't think he is.
I hope he is because they need it. They need some leadership. But anyway, I don't want to go on and on forever. I'm just saying there's other potential things that might have gone into all this stuff too. So you got to consider it all when you're looking at it. But we still don't know anything. So I'm not going to speculate on it anymore.
Well, we know they signed Blake Bortles.
They signed Blake Bortles,
which is a I saw something today. The Packers are the only NFL team that their quarterback room consists of 3 first-round picks.
Wow, look at that.
That's true.
They're going for it.
I don't know what that means quite exactly, but you can't complain about that as the mass media. They're like, oh, they never spent a wide receiver first-round pick. Okay, well, they got 3 first-round picks right now on their team at quarterback. Rodgers, Love, and Blake Bortles. They were all first-round picks. So, all right.
Mom wants Aaron Rodgers to come out and explain what is really going on one way or another.
Well, that's not going to happen.
And that's not going to happen. The other thing that's not going to happen is my magical dream scenario, which is kind of what you're talking about, except this. In this format, the Packers get together with him. They talk about it. They come to an agreement, a professional agreement that says, I'm going to come play this year with the understanding that after this year, he and the team are going to work together to find him a team to be traded to. Announce it, like you said, to everybody else. It'll probably be the Patriots will be the ones that get him, right? If that's what happens, because they'll just figure out a way to do it. But that's what they do. And then they say, look, and then the fans can enjoy Rodgers last year in Green Bay because it's already been determined. It's already been announced. They're like, yes, and we're going for it. This is the team we have. We're going to do everything we can. And maybe since it's Rodgers last year in Green Bay, you get a little bit of help from the officials or a little bit of judgment call that goes your way here and there in the playoffs because we know that helps you. So that's my dream scenario. And then they come out publicly and say that, announce that to the fans, side by side. Rodgers, Gutekunst, LaFleur, and
they have to
Murphy, and just say, "This is what we've talked this over. We're moving on to Jordan Love after this season. This is Aaron's last season with us. We are doing everything we can to win it all this year, and after that, we're going to work together with Aaron to find him the right team to go to for him and for the team." Now, if they did that, would everybody be happy? Pretty close.
I don't know. But if they do, if he just comes back and plays one more year, they have to come out and say that right from the beginning. Because if they don't, every single press conference is going to be, well, how long is Aaron Rodgers going to be here? Is Jordan Love ready to go? How long is Aaron Rodgers going to be here? That's all it's going to be. Unless they extend him and make him untradeable, or if they trade him. That's the only way there'll be no questions asked. If the Packers hold firm and Rodgers comes back to play and then shows up and says, oh, that was not a big deal. I'm here to play. Let's go. Well, people are going to keep asking the questions. And it's going to just divide the team, and it's going to be a stupid distraction that nobody needs. So they either need to extend him and support him for the future, which I do not want. I've flat out said that a million times. Or trade him, which is what I want. And that's where you go. Zero F's is saying you need a defensive line, and that solves all your problems. It worked with Eli, yes. For you, it looks like you're a Giants fan.
That's right.
But you got a good defensive line right now, and Giants stink. So what are you going to do? I don't know. You got to still have you still got to have a quarterback who can run your offense and be smart enough to make plays and throw the ball where he needs to. And, I mean, the Giants that won the Super Bowls with Eli had decent running backs and, great defensive line. Yes.
And he made plays in those playoff games.
Yeah.
And especially those Super Bowls.
He had 2 of the greatest passes in the history of freaking Super Bowls. I mean, honestly.
Even though the rest of his career is pretty average.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And that's one of the things. Here, we got a Giants fan right here. This is one of the things we've talked about for like a year now. Was the whole, would you rather be a fan of a team like the Packers who gets to the playoffs every single year? We've gotten to the NFC Championship game 5 times. And lost 6 times and lost 5. Right? No, we didn't get there. When they went 15-1, they lost at home to the Giants. That's right. Forget it.
Stinking Giants.
Anyways, but they're always good. They're almost always making the playoffs, but they don't get there. And the Giants, who don't make the playoffs half time, but apparently when they do, they go all the way to the Super Bowl and win the damn thing. Is that more exciting as a Giants fan? To watch your team go 4-12, or now it might be 4-13, or whatever it's going to be, and have your quarterback lead the league in fumbles. But 2 years from now, you might go all in and win the dang Super Bowl because you did it twice in the past, 11, whatever, how many, 12, 13 years now. I don't know. I think that sounds more interesting because you don't have any expectation. So you're excited when the thing happens, and it feels like you can relish in that feeling of winning. Where if you're always expecting the winning, then like it's what we talked about in the beginning, where you're too critical and you can't enjoy the journey. The best part about 2010 was the fact that we weren't expecting them. They were the 6th seed, and they came from out of nowhere and won on the road and won on the road and won on the road and then won in the Super Bowl. And that's why 2010 Super Bowl for the Packers was an amazing year, and the amazing season was because it wasn't expected at all. I mean, we knew they were good, but we didn't know quite that they were going to be that good or that they could get to the Super Bowl. But then immediately after that, every year, there's been such high expectations, we can't even enjoy the dang successful team we have. Like look at the Browns this year. Or like the Bills. Remember a couple of years ago when they signed Micah Hyde and they showed the guys in the locker room, they were just waiting for that one team to lose so they'd make the playoffs, and then they did, and they showed and Micah Hyde's like the first guy there, like screaming his brains out because they made the playoffs. The Bills made the playoffs for the first time in years and years and years, right? And all those guys are going nuts. I want that back. I know it sounds weird, but with Rodgers gone, expectations go down, and the excitement returns. And it sounds odd. You think, well, you got a Hall of Fame quarterback. Why do you want to get rid of him? That's why I want to have excitement again. I want to not have my expectations ruin my fandom. It's my own problem. I'm the problem. It's not the Packers or Aaron Rodgers. It's me. But that's the way it is.
Well, there's a whole lot of Packers fans that haven't seen many losing seasons. They don't remember the days before Favre and Rodgers. And yeah, we had a couple of, not good seasons under Favre, and we had a couple of not good seasons with Rodgers as the quarterback, although most of those were when he wasn't able to start or got injured or whatever. And some of Favre's not great seasons were when he was injured, but just kept playing anyway, because he was never going to miss a game. And that's, he said it before. He's like, I never wanted anybody to take my job, so I wasn't going to let anybody else in there. So if you want to, a lot of people think Favre was kind of a goofball and dumb, but he was smart in that regard to be like, if I've never given anyone else a chance to play in a game, they can't see if they're any good or not. So, hey, no one can take my job. That was the thought process by him. Including when the one was the Ray Rhodes single year as a head coach where he broke his right thumb and then played the whole year with a broken right thumb when he throws with his right hand. And it was a terrible year for him, but he played every game. Guy was tough. You give him that. Anyway, the point with all this stuff is, you and I mentioned that too yesterday, which is the expectations. And you said, look, if Rodgers isn't on the team, what happens to your expectations? And immediately your expectations are way less. So then if the team kind of surprises you, you're like you're pleasantly surprised. You're like, wow, we're doing better than I thought we'd be doing. And if you stink, you're like, well, it's kind of what I thought might happen. So maybe it's not that bad. The team has to move on based on everything that's gone on, regardless of how we got to this spot. They got to move on financially. They invested the pick and love. And at the same time, Rodgers is winding down his career. So based on where everything's at, this needs to happen. Does it need to happen right now before this season? The only way I think it doesn't is if they do what I said, where they come together, the leadership in him, and they make a full announcement or like, one more year. We had some issues professionally. We've talked it out. As professionals, we're agreeing to do this one more year. Everyone understands it. And think about the Packers. Now, they roll the dice a little bit in that scenario because Rodgers has got to play awesome again. But for him to have maximum trade value, right? But you figure he's going to probably play pretty well. And you give teams time to gear up for that rather than teams now that were scrambling like, holy crap, Aaron Rodgers might be available. Let's see if we can pull something off or this or that or whip some trade together. So anyway, probably won't happen that way, but that's my dream scenario. All right. Well, let's talk about the rookies here real quick. We got a couple rookie mini camp first day or rookie orientation camp, whatever you call it. I can't remember. There were some things though. Wes Hodkowitz gave us some stuff on that. talking about Eric Stokes apparently was flashing his speed. He was very fast.
We already knew that.
Interestingly, he talked about how, he made some pass breakups and stuff like that, but he made them because of his speed. And he said, if I go ahead, his quote, which is a little kind of interesting, but he says, if I go ahead and learn to play with technique now, when I get down the road, my speed starts to decline. I already know how to play with technique. So I'm not losing anything, and I can still be the best player I can be. So, and then before that, he said, having speed is tremendous, but the more I haul into my technique, the more I do everything else to where I don't have to use speed. So he is admitting basically in those quotes that he is very raw and his technique needs a lot of work. And that was what Ben talked about, when they drafted him. He's very fast, but he has trouble flipping his hips and his technique's not great. And so he's a first round pick that needs a lot of polish. Hopefully Jerry Gray can polish him up quick. And Jair Alexander can be a good influence too. I don't know what you think about that.
I don't think much about it.
Not surprising, right? I mean, it's what we thought. So all depends also how they use him, right? If they're going to do a little more off ball with him and give him a chance to break on shorter pass routes, he could be really impactful. Like, let's say he's playing off, recognizes a short pass and jumps it and intercepts passes and makes plays like that. Those are impactful plays. So you could see him in that role, and he might be better at that right now than starting out bump and run until his technique gets better. Amari Rogers had an interesting day, did a bunch of punt returning work. So I think
that's going to be one of his jobs. We know
he was the only guy lined up to receive punts out of the rookie guys that were there. Now there's not as many of them. There's like 26 because of the COVID restrictions and stuff. He also chose number 8. So he couldn't choose number 3 because that one's retired already by Packer Hall of Famer running back Tony Canadeo. And so Rogers went with 8 because he said it's just like a 3, except it closes the number, closes the loop on both those. And it kind of symbolizes everything coming full circle for him. So he's off to a good start, doing a lot of things, a lot of versatility as a receiver. He says he's ready for it. Pretty cool thing here, right? Cole Van Landen's first day as a Green Bay Packer, Green Bay kid, went to Bayport High School. He got to work with fellow rookie Josh Myers, second round pick center, who was fully healed from toe surgery. He had turf toe surgery and doing a lot of drills today. They held him on a couple things, but it was precautionary. And those two rookies getting to work together right away is pretty good and pretty nice for them. I'm sure learning the offense, helping each other out. And I still think, I know it's a long shot, but I think Cole Van Landen will have an opportunity to push with Bakhtiari out to see if he can get on the field as a tackle for the Packers. And I hope they give him a real shot at it, because I think he's going to work his butt off at it. And man, think about how excited Packers fans would be to see that. That'd be awesome. And then, of course, Blake Bortles, we know he's going to be coming to town next week or whenever they come in. The other big one is Alvin Jones. We started talking about it. So Aaron Jones' twin brother was one of the few tryout guys. A couple of quarterbacks trying out. They can only have 5 tryout players because of the COVID restrictions. And Alvin Jones, as a linebacker, one of the guys trying out. Now, he was undrafted, free agent with the Ravens in 2018, didn't play in the NFL last season, but he had a tryout with the Packers last October, and he's back trying out again. So I don't know. I don't know if he gets a real shot. Maybe gets to be in some preseason games, see what he can do. But competition at linebacker, especially on the inside, might be a good thing for this team. Give him a shot.
Yeah. I mean,
his brother would like it.
The majority of these guys are not going to be on the team anyways. They're not going to make the field. So they'll be practice squad guys or just not even be anything. So I don't really, it's hard to talk much about him. You know, I mean, I know that the 4th-round pick's hair. He's got a weird mullet going on. I don't know what's up with that. Like his bangs are short, like the top of his head, his hair is short, and then he's got like his sides are super duper long and his back is super duper long. So it looks like Billy Ray Cyrus, who grew his hair out longer, kind of thing. I'm not a fan of that look. I mean, just let her go like Bakhtiari, or cut it. But I don't know. It's a weird look with the short bangs and the long sides and back. It's odd. I mean, either go mullet or go long everything. You know what I mean? But to have a short on top and then long on the sides, that's just weird.
It is weird, and he was one of those picks that I wasn't very excited about when I first looked at him.
And you look at his arms. I saw pictures today of practice, and his arms are wussy.
Physically,
wussy.
Legs and arms, his limbs look really kind of small for an old lineman. But I watched tape.
Maybe he's got great technique.
He has really good feet.
Okay.
So I was impressed because when I first saw like the stills of him, I'm like, this guy was a 4th-round pick.
Athletic or anything. He just looks
not at all. Yeah. But he has good feet. It showed ability to stay in front of people pretty well. Showed the ability to move his feet a lot to get some drive on run blocks. So even though he lacks, I think, in strength in limbs, he's got active feet. And if you get momentum going, with your feet, that can help you out a lot. Lee says Cole Van Landen at right tackle. Maybe. I hope so. That's my hope. But we'll see. We'll see what they do when they line them up and try them out and all that stuff. The cool part about it, regardless of who it is and where they're drafted and whether they're coming in as tryout guys or whatnot, these guys are all at some level realizing their dream, right? To be in an NFL camp, put on an NFL jersey, like me, and actually run around on the field and get a chance to be in the facility and be a Green Bay Packer at some level for a while. And that's pretty awesome. So you got to celebrate that regardless of whether they're here for 10 minutes or they get to play for 10 years. So big day for those guys for sure. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so keep tuned to that stuff. The other thing is before we close out here, we're going to get going because the beer is almost gone. And also we're almost to the hour mark. So Ben and I talked about a couple other things, right? We talked about trying to get more serious with the channel, trying to get it on YouTube, and trying to build up subscribers and just a presence. And part of that is trying to get more consistent videos out there to people and staying on top of things. So we're going to work on some different videos throughout the week. I'm going to plan to come on some mornings and do quick short videos, just kind of news updates, basically what's happening with the Packers currently. We'll get like 1 or 2 of those a week. And then I'd also like to host just a general chat, like anything goes, whoever's in the chat, whatever you want to talk about, that's what we'll talk about, and do one of those a week as well. So we can still chat on Fridays, and we'll plug in your chats, comments as much as we can while we go through some other things we're talking about and plan to. But we'll have like a dedicated chat show. I'm thinking Wednesday nights, either Tuesday or Wednesday nights. So I'm going to flush all that out in the next week or so, and we'll start doing that really soon. So we'll have some more programs, some more shows coming out. They're going to be shorter, not as in depth, not take as much of everybody's time. But
so I will not be on those.
More consistency. Yeah, Ben's still gonna be on the Friday night shows, and then when we get back to the season and games, and we got games to analyze and talk about, we'll probably still do that. A Tuesday night game recap and a Friday night game preview and hang out. But for anything, else, little stuff, breaking news, interesting things that I come up with or find, we'll get you shorter videos, 15 minutes, pop on and just do them and crank them out. That way you guys get more consistency from us too. And we'll try to share with you the information we come across. If you have any other thoughts for us about what we can be doing, should be doing, what you'd like to see from us, hey, thanks for subbing, Zero. Appreciate that. Check us out. Shoot us comments. Let us know what you think about what we're doing. Again, this is all kind of a work in progress for us. We just kind of decided we talk a lot about Packers when we talk. So we decided to do a show because we're like, hey, we talk about this stuff anyway. Let's put it out there and see what we think.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
After games, we'd call each other and talk for 2.5 hours about the game. And then you were just like, hey, why don't we record us talking about it and just throw it on YouTube? And I was like, that sounds stupid, but what the hey? I mean, if nobody watches, we're gonna do it anyways. Let's just record it and do it. And that's how we started. And then when the pandemic hit, you came up with the Brews and Bros on Friday night show because we had, a lot of people who were stuck in their houses and they were kind of like, and we did it once or twice. And then we found out that, like Ekis and Bruce and those guys, they really got into it. And they're like, it's kind of like, I look forward to it because I can't leave my house. I can't do anything else at that point. And that ended up turning into a big long thing. And then we would do when the season starts, we usually did a Tuesday recap show, about the game. And then we did the Friday Brews and Bros show. And, and that's how it's happened. So you just kind of go with the flow and see what's up.
Blaz is on here, gets a good one in. He says 0. Now you are sub-0 after he subbed. Look at that. Nice work, Blaz. Hey, and seriously, guys, if there's like certain players you'd like us to look into more or topics you'd like us to examine more, we're open to that, of course. I mean, we have, things that we come up with and stuff, but it's a bit of it's tough to come up with stuff all the time if there's not something actively happening, like news happening. I do want to do another Packers trivia day. That'd be kind of fun. We'll get some more people involved and throw some weird trivia. Because my trivia is probably not like most people's trivia. It was like all random weird stuff. Or I did the whole draft history trivia, and Nick said he never watched the Packers draft in his life, but we had him on here, which is pretty great. Poor Nick. And but whatever. I just think it's interesting. Like, we've been Packers fans a long time, and we love the ability to come on and chat about it. There's one thing. Hey, I'm gonna Ben talk about something because I gotta find this picture here that I got.
Actually, what I'm gonna talk about is something kind of crazy.
Go for it.
After we got done talking yesterday, you were talking about how they flag us for using Black Unicorn, which is a song I wrote.
Yep.
And I recorded, and it's my song, and yet for some reason they flag us every time you do it at the start of the show. So I was like, well, I'm gonna write a new jingle or a new starting thing for us, sometime or whatever. Well, I did. I wrote it last night at like 11 o'clock at night. And it's like, and it actually might get us in trouble because it's variations on a theme. So we'll see if I'm going to try to get it recorded here. I got to download some new recording stuff because the stuff I downloaded for some reason isn't working right. And I have another option. So I'm just going to do the other option. I'll download it tomorrow and see what I can do. And then I'll throw together. I got the lyrics already. I got some lyrics from Ekis and from you. One of the lyrics is Brews and Bros.
Oh, it was supposed to be Hafeman Bros, but okay, Brews.
Yeah, but Hafeman Bros. Well, see, the reason why is because maybe we could extend it. I could turn it into a whole song and then sell it to the Packers.
Oh.
So instead of saying Hafeman Bros, I was going to say Brews and Bros in there. But it's the only problem is, like I said, I'm actually it's kind of a little bit like a Beethoven thing where I took a theme and I did the variation on the theme. And the theme is already owned by the Packers, so I don't know if they'll catch it or not. But the melody I sing is not that. But there's a part in the guitar part and the bass part that is just straight up ripped off from the Packers. So,
whoa.
But I extend it though. I mean, it's just, it starts one way and then I extend, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. You alter it. Yeah. I get it.
Right. So, okay. And so hopefully I'll get it recorded this weekend and then I can send it to you and then you can get it ready with some video-y crap and make it our new intro. And you'll see if it works or not.
I got to look more into like how to get intros to play smoother on YouTube when you're doing live.
You suck at that.
Well, because I'm doing it live, but we're doing it through Zoom, and then it's the thing is I can't start it. I start the live stream, but I can't start the share until after so it's really goofy. And I think about most of these other people that are doing videos, and most of them are recorded videos, so that when they put a intro video on there, they can just put it in with the recorded video and then just put it together, and I'll post the video. And I'm trying to do it all live, so it's getting a little goofy. But anyway, I'll try to figure that out. Up north, Wisconsin Lager tonight from One Barrel. One Barrel is also in Door County, Wisconsin, I guess. Look at that.
Started here. Door County on there.
Started here in Madison, though, by the way, just so you know. They did expand up to Door County. All right, I got one quick screen share because last night, I don't know. I don't even have him in my contacts, but I'm guessing this was Mike Ryan sending me stuff. Did he send you this too? All right, here's the text. Here's the text I got last night. Last night, I get out of the blue this picture sent to me, and he's like, "You look so happy to be in this pic. Go Pack." And then he's like, "Wait, you had an Eagles jersey on. Who was it? Who was that Eagles jersey I had, Ben?"
Ty Detmer.
That's right. So he sends me this pic. Now it's a little fuzzy because it's old pic. But yeah, I said, I'm guessing I wasn't unhappy, just tired. But that was a Ty Detmer jersey, number 14 with the Eagles when he got a chance to start for like a year and a half or 2 years.
And what jersey do I have on, everybody?
Look at you. Look at that. I didn't remember your Dorsey jersey. Look at that. So this is Ben, by the way, if you don't realize, and this is me. I had glasses then. I got LASIK now, so
60 pounds lighter and 25 years ago. Yeah, I was not an ugly guy. I was all right looking. But, I got old and fat. What do you want me to do? Shut up.
And this is Matt Kanzera, who does the Jesus Never Ran podcast and also does motivational speaking now. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know. Which probably sounds great with his voice because he's
right.
Blah, blah, talking all low and crap.
And this is Andy Kavanagh, who is a chiropractor. A chiropractor. Andy, did you ever think he'd be a chiropractor? I didn't. Josh Countryman is, I think, the music teacher, so we thought that would happen.
Yeah, he just had his 20-year wedding anniversary I saw on Facebook. So congratulations to Countryman and Amy. Way to go, you guys.
And this is Mikey, who I think sent me the picture. And he's married to a pretty cool lady, too. Or lives over in Minnesota and has his own fire starter that he created. MR fire starter that he's pumping out there. He's a marketing guy, so he's working on that. He works for like a big company too, I think, in the Twin Cities area, but he also has his own fire starter. So if you're looking for a fire starter here, you're looking to get your back cracked here, looking to learn music from a teacher here, you're looking for a podcast and a motivational speaker here, and you're looking for some goofball talk with Packers here, these two. All right. That's the synopsis of that. But yeah, that was my Ty Detmer jersey I was wearing in that photo.
Why were we wearing Packer stuff that day? I don't know what that was. That was at rehearsal. I know that we were rehearsing that day, but
because we were football guys, man.
Yeah.
Even then, look at that. Nobody else is wearing football stuff, but you and I are wearing jerseys of our favorite players at the time
on a random Thursday.
Mm-hmm. And now I still wear my favorite player jersey right here,
Lukey Patrick.
And this is going to happen. Going to Packers training camp, and I'm getting this puppy signed.
Hey, I think Kellen Mond actually is number 11 for the Vikings, by the way.
Really?
I think so. So my wearing of the Culpepper Mond jersey was fortuitous or something like that. I don't know if I used that right. I'm not that smart. I went to college for 8.5 years and I didn't graduate. So who knows?
Oh, classic. Hey, Joshua George is in the house too. How you doing, Josh?
Holy crap. There's another Statesman guy.
Look at that. Yeah. I don't
Statesman guys everywhere.
And I have none of these pictures. People sending me these random pictures back from Statesman days. And I have none of those pictures, but they're finding them and shooting them over, which is pretty cool. I appreciate that because I don't have any of that stuff. So that's awesome. All right. Look at this. All gone. Time to go. Take care of yourself. Stay well. Be well.